Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. Second hour, kicking off right now on this Tuesday morning of July 21st. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your start, whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, streaming us up online at sportstalk1051.com. Video streams rocking and rolling, the app. You got your smart devices like your Alexa devices. Multiple ways for you to be tuning in. That Shoe Doctor's bullpen line is up and rolling as well. You can hit us up 715-830-1912 or hang out in the Section 105 chat. All right. We've got Tim in the Cooley region saying, I'm shocked at where the Brewers are this season. 10 out of 10 shocked. I thought they would be in a wild card chase with the Cubs leading the division. They continue to develop talent through their farm system and surprise the rest of the league. Nothing more fun than seeing the frustration of Cubs fans as the Brewers continue to win. C-Bomb says, thin crust for the win. Who wants a loaf of bread with cheese on it? Yuck. Yeah, if you want to chime in, are you a thin crust or are you deep dish? All right, so you can either hit us up with your picks on the texting line, or hang out with listeners in the video stream chat room. That sometimes gets hard for me to monitor because there's so much back and forth and I miss and I get sidetracked. So you can chat with fellow listeners in that chat room. So I'm going to talk a little Devonte Wyatt with his contract extension coming up here in just a skosh. We spent the first hour talking all Brewers as the Brew Crew picking up a win yesterday against the Mets. They will look to do the same tonight and at least secure a series win against the Mets later on tonight with Brandon Sproat, former Mets, starting for the Brewers tonight. I want to go and kick off this hour, though. Well, first of all, continue to send me some of your I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, because it is Tuesday, so it's a Tuesday I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. But also, it's a Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. And I'm going to go, my Grind My Gears Tuesday is Tom Brady. Tom Brady. Apparently now, so over the weekend, there was this at Fanatics Fest. He, slapped Logan Paul. Okay. And then there was the flag football thing between those two. But now there's reports that Tom Brady and the WWE are in talks for a potential partnership. Are we seriously going to have Tom Brady join the ring in WWE? What are we doing here? Okay. Now, that could actually be a Wednesday. What are we doing here? But really, can we just stop? Brady, all right, continue to call games. Go be an owner for the Raiders. You're all over with the card vault and doing this. You're dabbling into this. Tom Brady and okay, so I'm not a big WWE fan. I'm not a wrestler fan. But I gotta ask Justice and Brandon, who are probably the two friends that I know are the biggest WWE fans, what their thoughts are on seeing Tom Brady in a WWE ring, if that is the case. But why? Gronk, that made sense. Rob Gronkowski, that made sense. Tom Brady, no. In a WWE ring, why? It's all about the money. It's all about the brand for him. That's what it's coming down to, right? We all know this. It's just kind of annoying. So I feel like if you were annoyed with Tom Brady to begin with, you're probably more annoyed at this point in time too. You have to be, right? So that's what's grinding my gears. Brady. in WWE. Come on. Again, I'm not a big WWE fan. I don't follow it unless Hulk Hogan is alive and still wrestling it, or Undertaker, or any of those. No. So it shouldn't bother me. I'm more annoyed at the fact that he's going to, pun intended, jump into the ring here. It makes no sense. Except for the money aspect. That's where it makes sense for him. But, all right. So, continue to send us your Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesdays. We'll get back to some of those coming your way a little bit later on. Catching up on some of the texts, though, about the Brewers. We had Ben saying, I'm a little concerned about Pat Murphy's comments, saying he was concerned about Jacob Mizorowski's outing last night. Hopefully it's a lot to do about nothing. Tim texting in saying, this is why I think the Brewers still need to go out and get another starting pitcher or long relief bullpen arm. I think they're going to shorten up a lot of their starts for their current starting pitchers. Ugh, spit it out, Dan. Another texter, don't have a name, can't give you the cred. Don't forget to give a nickname or a name to your text so I can give you some credit if you're comfortable with that. But saying, fun to see Cooper Pratt hit his first home run of his career. Hopefully he continues to produce at the plate, because it has been a big boost, I think, for the offense to see Joey Ortiz and Cooper Pratt contributing. I think it probably takes away the need for the Brewers to go get a left side corner infielder by the trade deadline. Yeah, I feel like that's not going to happen anymore. I don't see that happening anymore. Especially if Joey Ortiz, I know you can look at the longer track record, but and again, looking at who's potentially available, I don't see the Brewers going out there and making a play for another power bat that is on the left side of the infield. Speaking of power bat left inside the infield, Steve had texted in, have you heard anything about Andrew Fisher and him either being extended or called up? Now, I'm assuming you're referring to what was going on Twitter yesterday. So Andrew Fisher, one of the great Brewers prospects, like 17 hours ago, because I'm on his Twitter page now, all he did was tweet an emoji of sunglasses with the smirk and, like the big eyes. And then from The Athletic, Stephen Nesbitt tweeted, the Milwaukee Brewers are doing it again. To which people then started to contemplate, throw out scenarios, throw out ideas, throw out what does this mean? Were they promoting Andrew Fisher? Were they locking up Andrew Fisher? Jesus Madej? What? Well, for what it's worth, Nesbitt last night followed up with his tweet saying they're doing it again, with a screenshot of the Brewers now ahead of the Dodgers for the best record in Major League Baseball. So it seems like maybe Andrew Fisher was having a little fun, or just straight up talking about, the Brewers and what they were doing. Still continuing to win games, but maybe having a little fun with social media too. Some people like to do that. So I think I think it's spiraled out of control, to answer your question. And I think a lot of people were trying to connect the dots. It's like that GIF, meme, whatever we're calling it, where you're trying to connect all these certain dots and try to figure out exactly what they mean or what's going on here. And I think it was much ado about nothing. All right, let's switch gears here, though. Let's take a quick break, and we got to get into this contract for Devonte Wyatt. Let's talk about this. Packers locking up another one of their younger players. It has been a busy offseason for the Green Bay Packers. And honestly, they've made moves I'm surprised they actually did. This is going to be something to watch, I think, in the next few years, how all this is going to work under the salary cap. I'll explain that and more coming up after we take this quick break. What's the latest and greatest on sale at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire? Well, let's take a look at what's up on the flyer. How about $5.99 for packs of Bubbler? That's a huge hit in our house. What's your favorite flavor? I probably got to go with, I'm a big mixed berry guy, so take advantage of that, especially if you need a little bit of a boost of energy, maybe a little quenching of the thirst and all that fun stuff there. Also, you've got $8.99 Hy-Vee Choice Reserve Boneless Beef New York Strips. $8.99 for an 8-ounce. That's a heck of a deal. How about $3.99 Kraft Macaroni and Cheese 5-pack? Quick meals for the kids, especially if they're still continuing with baseball, softball games that are still going on here as we start to wrap up summer. It's still warm out there, so $6.48 Hy-Vee ice cream gallon. Yeah. How about 99 cents hot dog packages for quick throw out on the grill if your kiddos are big hot dog fans? $3.99. Here we go. $3.99 Tombstone, DiGiorno Classic, Jack's Rising Crust Pizza. I think Hy-Vee's got the best deals when it comes to frozen pizzas. Got to load up that garage freezer with some of those frozen pizzas. So you can check out their flyer by heading on over to Hy-Vee's Facebook page. And don't forget, too, with Hy-Vee Perks, you can save some money at the gas pump. Fill up that tank, go shopping, do a little grocery shopping at Hy-Vee, add up all those fuel perks, and save at the gas pump, baby. So, okay, let's, by the way, too, since we're talking football, I am going to put together, okay, I'm working on it, details to come, but maybe you saw it on the Sports Talk Facebook page last night. I'm chatting with some peeps, but we are going to do a 7-1-5 fantasy football league. Probably going to have, depending on the amount of interest, probably going to have multiple leagues. But we are working on it. So details to come. It's going to be first come, first serve. Okay, first come, first serve for these signups. There's nothing open yet for the signups, so just details to come. Probably what I'm going to do is give you the info and the codes in different ways, whether it's the new newsletter that I got going out there, the Wisconsin Sports Verdict. Probably throw out a key phrase, keyword, the link to sign up there. And you can bet your bottom dollar it's going to be, you got to listen to an episode of the podcast, the Man Cave podcast, too. So just giving you a heads up. Kind of want to have fun with this, make it big, multiple leagues, all that good stuff. So, all right, let's talk some football here. Yesterday, the news, Packers locking up Devonte Wyatt. 3-year extension, $57 million, $20 million guaranteed. Now, we don't have all of the details yet. The breakdown of this contract. We know the guaranteed portion of it. Just as a reminder, if $20 million is the signing bonus and guaranteed, and let's say that is the only guaranteed portion of his contract. Yeah, $20 million signing bonus, that's guaranteed. If that's the only guaranteed portion of that contract, he's going to get $20 million up front. The cap hit for that, you take 20 divided by 3. If that is the only guaranteed portion of his contract. So you're talking what? Just under $7 million. Right? So there's going to be more details to come with this. And I know there were fans out there like, oh, that's too much money for a guy who's been hurt. Okay, I get it. But I also feel Devonte Wyatt is their best defensive lineman. He is their best defensive lineman currently on this roster. It is not a long-term commitment to Devonte Wyatt. They're not locking him up for 5 years at $100-some million. I think there's still more room to grow for Devonte Wyatt. And part of these deals that we have to remember is a little bit is of what have you done lately, but also future, the prospect, the potential. And I think they are big believers yet in the potential of Devonte Wyatt. And there was an interesting graphic that was floating around Twitter yesterday. And it's advanced statistics, advanced numbers, because I think I'm going to probably call out some fans with this, but I think a lot of maybe fans look at the very basic numbers and stats when it comes to a guy or when it comes to any athlete. And there was let me see if I can find it here. I should have saved this, but there was a graphic. Here it is. Defensive interior pass rush and run stop percentiles spanning the last 2 seasons. So it's one of those graphs. It's, kind of the 4 sides. And if you're in the top, I'm going to try to explain this, but if you're in the top right corner, you're in some pretty good company, because you're talking about Cam Hayward, you're talking about Cleus Campbell, you're talking about Ed Oliver, Franklin Myers. And the higher up you go into that right corner, the better. Devonte Wyatt's right there. He's right there with Simmons from Tennessee, Williams, Hayward, Buckner. Devonte Wyatt's name is right there. What does that mean? Well, defensive line interior percentiles, pass rush win rates, run stop rate percentile. You factor all that in there. According to these numbers from the last couple of years, he's one of the better ones. One of the better ones in this league. Yes, he's got to be on the field more. He has got to stay healthy. The Packers need him to stay healthy. He is a key player. I will argue he is one of the biggest keys on this defense because of the unknown depth behind this group. He began his career in 2022. All right, 16 games. 2023, 17 games. 2024 was 14 games, but last year just 10. So you hope that this past year, not the beginning of a trend. But there's no arguing, too, with the numbers, too. I mean, from his standpoint, 5.5 sacks, 5 sacks. Last year in just 10 games, he had 4 sacks. He is the best pass rushing interior defensive lineman on this team. And he's pretty good at stopping the run, too. He is their best interior defensive lineman. And I think this is a contract. If he hits the potential, if he hits the marks that Green Bay's expecting, I think we're going to be potentially looking at this contract and saying that might have been a bargain. And Wyatt is probably going to hit free agency. Yeah, he'll be around 30, but he's going to be able to hit free agency and still make some extra moolah if he hits that potential. I think there's still more left, untapped potential from Devonte Wyatt that I hope Jonathan Gannon can get out of this defense. That Jonathan Gannon can get out of him. I hope, because I think it's there. But you look at the depth of this group, and that's where I think he is such a key player to this defense. When you look at key players' defense, yes, Micah Parsons is there. Okay? Micah Parsons is number one. After that, though, who are the most important defensive players on this team? I would say it's Wyatt. I would say it's Edgerrin Cooper, Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams, Javon Bullard. Those guys. And it's going to be Devonte Wyatt. His play is going to be so crucial, especially the first few weeks of the season with no Micah Parsons. He is going to have to wreak havoc on that defensive line. And hopefully, when Micah comes back, that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. That front seven between Micah, Wyatt, Cooper. I like the signing. I like the move. And in fact, I'm surprised when you look at this offseason so far that Green Bay has put together, re-signing Jaden Reed, or extending Jaden Reed, extending Christian Watson, adding another year to Isaiah McDuffie, Devonte Wyatt extension. You go back to the winter when we were talking about this, you're like, okay, probably Tucker and then Watson, maybe Wyatt, probably not Reed. Well, now it looks like Goody and Russ Ball, they're going to sign everybody. So I think if you're a Packers fan, you got to appreciate the fact that, hey, they're going out there and they're locking some of these guys up. You look at next year, the players that are scheduled to be free agents, really Tucker Kraft is the big one out there. And I am 99.95% confident Tucker Kraft is going to be a Green Bay Packer for the next few years. It's going to happen. But Green Bay has locked up a lot of their younger players now. Because you look at next year's scheduled free agents, take away Tucker Kraft, you're looking at, okay, Carrington Valentine and Keyshawn Nixon. Next year, right now, yes, we're going to be talking about probably a corner being a big priority for Green Bay in the offseason. Because I can't see Green Bay bringing back Carrington Valentine. Maybe if he has a ball-out year, maybe Keyshawn Nixon is back on a cheaper deal if he chooses to accept that. But Green Bay has locked up a lot of their key pieces moving forward. And they're doing it early on so that we may be looking at some of these deals like, hey, Jaden Reed, got a bargain on him. Christian Watson, man, got a bargain on him. Devonte Wyatt, man, got a bargain on him. I don't think they'll get a bargain on Tucker Kraft. That's the one that they may not get a bargain on. Right now, his market value, according to SpotTrack, is $15.5 million per year. And I think you look at some of the other tight end values out there, contracts that have been signed, it would not be a surprise to see Tucker Kraft probably a top 5, top 3 paid tight end, depending on if it's guaranteed money, average per year, or total money of the contract. But I think Goody and Russ Ball, with what they've been doing with some of these contracts, they've been doing a good job of locking up some of these guys for the next couple of years, few years. They recognize that the window is now. And they want to keep some of their key players so that hopefully they can take advantage of this window. They're doing their part. Goody, Russ Ball, the front office, they're doing their part in trying to build a championship roster. Their part is identifying these players, whether it's through draft or free agent signings or trades, and then signing them, locking them up. Was it last year, year before? Yeah, 2 years ago, when Goody made the famous line, it's time for us to compete for championships. I think he's doing his part. It's just up to coaches, players, and a little bit of luck in terms of health for them to do their end of the bargain, if you will. All right, we got to take a quick break. Your thoughts on the signing, you can hit us up. Let us know. We'll be back in just a few minutes. When your vehicle needs attention, make it easy on yourself. Just trust the team at AJM Automotive in Eau Claire. With 2 convenient locations, AJM makes taking care of your vehicle, truck, or SUV simple. Need service? Scheduling an appointment is quick and easy. Just visit ajmautomotiveservices.com and book online when it works for you. And if the unexpected happens and you're stuck on the side of the road, AJM's Towing Services is there to help you and your vehicle where you need to go, get you to where you need to go. From routine maintenance to unexpected repairs, AJM Automotive is your local partner for honest, dependable auto care. 2 Eau Claire locations, easy online scheduling, trusted service when you need it the most. That's AJM Automotive, where they keep you moving. Just saw Connor Orr from Sports Illustrated. By the way, good to see Tom from across the pond in our video stream there. So what's up, Tom? Hope all is well. But, Tom, I'm actually kind of curious if you're still listening, Tom, because I'd seen yesterday, Tom is our resident Lions fan. I'd seen yesterday a lot of the odds makers, advanced statistics, whatever, favors the Lions to win the division. One of them was, let me see if I can pull it up here really quick. I think I know where it's at. But let me see. Okay. Is it this one? Maybe not. Anyways, yeah, here we go. This was Kevin Seifert from ESPN. Per ESPN Analytics, chances of winning the NFC North. 38% Lions. 33% Packers. 19% Bears. Vikings 10%. What do you, and not just for Tom, but I guess for everybody else, what do you think of those numbers? Maybe part of me is a little surprised at how high the Lions are and maybe how low the Bears are. But I'm genuinely curious to get everybody's reaction, whether you are a Bears fan or a Packers fan or a Lions fan or a Vikings fan. I don't care. Or Cowboys fan. Don't matter. When you see those numbers, now this is, again, per ESPN Analytics, too high, too low for some, just right for some. What are your thoughts? Connor Orr from Sports Illustrated, though, he's got a new piece up, the A-list. 14 teams that can actually win the Super Bowl. Connor makes the point that the NFL is more wide open than usual this season, but we can still narrow down the field and exclude a few teams you might not expect. So, who are the 14 teams, in his opinion, that can win the Super Bowl? Think about it, that's nearly half the league, right? So, is it wide open? Let's just run through it. Is Green Bay on this list? His list includes Baltimore, Buffalo, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Detroit, Green Bay, Houston, Jacksonville, the Chargers, the Rams, Patriots, 49ers, and then finally the Seahawks. What did he have to say about the Packers? He said, I think last season was a narrative buster for Jordan Love, whose pocket presence often conveyed a sense of erraticism beyond truth. Love is athletic and can see the field well, which motivates him to take chances, many of which get home. He finished last season with the lowest bad throw percentage of his career. His percentage of on-target throws was also a career high. He ranked third in down-to-down efficiency behind only Drake May and the EPA god, Brock Purdy. His completion percentage over expectation was better than Josh Allen's. All of this is to say that Love is set up to start the season on a monster run, with the Packers likely to be favorites in their first 4 games against the Vikings, Jets, Falcons, and Buccaneers. This will be a solid confidence-building runway and ease Green Bay into the point in the season when Micah Parsons should return from last season's torn ACL. The Packers were really only blown out once last season, had 5 one-score losses and a tie, and were 1 disastrous quarter away from making the second round of the playoffs. I'm often biased toward teams like the Packers, who underperformed with some of their best players, over a team like the Broncos, whose best path to the Super Bowl has seemed to already materialize. Just for what it's worth, this was the write-up for Lions and Bears. Lions-wise, the Lions have the league's most generous schedule by some measures, which we must consider alongside this startling fact. Despite changing offensive coordinators at midseason and heaping a ton of extra responsibility on Dan Campbell's plate, the Lions still managed to finish third in passing yards and passing touchdowns, tied for fourth in points, tied for fourth in turnovers, and seventh in yards per rushing attempt. The Lions won 9 games last season, beat the Bears twice, and rolled into the bye week at 5-2. New offensive coordinator Drew Petzing is, I feel, a highly underrated offseason signing. After the Lions flirted with Mike McDaniel, settling on Petzing, the former Cardinals offensive coordinator, should help stabilize and make more sensible run game and protection scheme that left some of the Lions' best players hung out to dry under former coordinator John Morton. The loss of Terrion Arnold is undeniable, though. Detroit has prided itself on man off the street mentality when it comes to the league's number 3 most frequent man defense. And then for Chicago, the Bears enter the 26th season as everyone's darling. Caleb Williams is on the cover of Madden. Chicago will star in this year's NFL on Hallmark original holiday movie. The Bears thrived amid the largest question that I felt plagued the team going into Ben Johnson's inaugural season. Could he create explosive plays as efficiently with the Bears as he could with the star-studded Lions offense? The answer was a resounding yes. Even when dependent on some rookies and a fleet of free agents, the Bears were 6th in yards per game and 5th in plays of 20 yards or more. Chicago had a league-best plus 22 turnover margin, 2 one-point wins, and 1 two-point win, in addition to 4 other one-score wins. 3 of Chicago's 11 wins last year were against teams that made the playoffs, including an overtime victory against the slumping Packers, sans Micah Parsons. Given all that, I still think Johnson is one of the league's elite play callers who will be setting the pace for what is schematically possible this season. Because of that, sometimes one-score wins represent less of a fluke and more of a fact that Johnson is simply calling better plays in bigger moments than other offensive play callers. That last part's kind of interesting because I think what was one thing that Johnson took a hit last year. Now, he was able to bounce back with some of his aggressive play calling, but it was those fourth down decisions, really aggressive decisions that maybe early on in the game didn't work. But this is where I kind of got to give him credit and the Bears credit, and it hurts. But they brushed it off and kept moving on and still won a lot of those games. But going back to those ESPN analytics, I got to say, I was a little surprised to see the Bears at 19%. Because as Connor Orr said, they seem to be a lot of people's darling. They're a good team. They're going to be a playoff threat. 3 of the 4 teams, honestly, I'm not going to overlook Minnesota. I think Minnesota quietly last year, you look at it, they weren't that far off with questionable quarterback play. If Kyler Murray just gives them a little bit of an improvement, that might be a team to just kind of keep in the back of your mind or keep an eye on. I think the NFC North still is the best division in football in terms of depth. You got the NFC West. I get it with the Seahawks, the Rams, the 49ers. Those are 3 really good teams. But the Cardinals are just, they're so far behind where it's a 3-team race for that division. It may be a 3-team race for the NFC North, but Minnesota is better than the Cardinals. You look at the other divisions, the NFC East, Cowboys, Eagles, Washington, New York. I'm still taking the NFC North. AFC-wise, AFC North, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati. I'm still taking the NFC North. AFC East, Patriots, Bills, Dolphins, Jets. No, it's the NFC North. AFC West. Okay, Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos. You got those 3. A little bit of an unknown, though, with the Raiders. Yeah, give me the NFC North. It's between the NFC North and the NFC West. But, yeah, I'll admit, I was a little surprised that 19% favored the Bears. That's a big gap between them and the Lions. Are they overhyping the Lions? Underappreciating the Bears or underhyping the Bears? Packers? Just right? Too high? Too low? What do you think? All right, we got to take a quick break as we approach halftime. Already almost 2 hours into this thing. We'll be back in just a few minutes. When it comes to feeding your family, quality matters. And for great tasting meats, you don't have to look any further than Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. From fresh cuts of beef and pork to delicious brats, steaks, and all of your favorites for the grill, Mike's Star Market brings you the quality and service that you expect from a true local butcher shop. Whether you are firing up the grill, planning a family meal, or stocking up the freezer, stop by Mike's Star Market and experience the difference of shopping local. Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Quality meats, hometown service, and a tradition that you can taste. All right. Got a few minutes left to the top of the hour. Coming up next hour, we'll chat it up with RJ Cardinal. So we get inch a little bit closer and closer and closer to the start of the college football season. So we'll catch up with RJ at about 8:20 here this morning. Continue to send me your Toys and Four to grind my gears at Tuesday notes. Also, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. Best ones we'll read up on the air. Hey, good day yesterday for the Express. Taking both games against Waterloo. The first place Express continue to rock and roll here in the second half of this season. So hopefully they can continue that. They're going to be going up against Waterloo again tonight and tomorrow. Off day, Thursday, but they'll be on the road Friday and Saturday, taking on Wausau. Sunday, Monday, Thunder Bay. The Express will be back at Carson Park a week from today, and they're going to be at home for quite a bit as they wrap up the regular season and hopefully get ready for a playoff run too. But they're in that position right now. If they take care of their business, they control their destiny, which we know every team, you want to be in that situation, right? You want to be able to control your destiny. We got Tom from across the pond and Zach chiming back and forth here. Tom, our resident Lions fan, says that fourth place schedule is definitely helping those odds. If the defense stays healthy, I think we have a shot, but I can't put us ahead of the Packers and Bears before the season. Before the season actually kicks off. 100% to put us ahead of the Vikings, though. Zach says it's going to be a race to win the division between the Packers, Lions, and Bears. I see the Bears taking a step back this season and the Lions taking a step forward. Tom says NFC North, the top division, NFC West 2, AFC West 3. Zach says, I do think the NFC North is the toughest division in football right now for sure. Keep those thoughts coming. All right. If you got a topic idea or a question, throw that on over too. Might hit that up. We'll get back to some more Brewers baseball. Brewers yesterday picking up a win against Freddie Peralta. Freddie Peralta in his return to Milwaukee. Brewers hitters didn't give him a good welcome. But sorry, Freddie. Got to take care of business. And 100 games into the season for the Brewers. They open up this Tuesday, July 21st, as the best team record-wise in all of Major League Baseball. Ahead of the Dodgers. Dodgers have one more loss, same amount of wins. But, hey, Brewers, they got the best win percentage. Print the shirts right now. 100 games into this season, the Brewers have the best record in all of Major League Baseball. They are surpassing expectations for many of us. I think, again, I had them as like a wild card team, as a playoff team, but they just continue to, every year of the Pat Murphy era, they continue to surpass expectations, beat the odds. I mean, we're talking about a team right now that might win 100 games this regular season, for crying out loud, after breaking the franchise record last year with 97. They might get 100 wins this year? Are you kidding me? Holy moly. So, we'll talk a little bit about Mrs. short outing yesterday. Part of the plan, or should we be concerned? A little bit of both. We'll go through some of the comments from Pat Murphy and Mizorowski from yesterday. Brandon Sproat, he's going up against his former team. It's his turn to go up against his former team. He gets to start for the Brewers tonight as the Brewers look to at least clinch a series win, another series win for the Brew Crew. So, reminder that game, 6:40 first pitch. Coverage will begin 6:05 on the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. So, more Brewers talk. Your Toyson Ford, grind my gears. What is grinding your gears? You can send those on over if you want to get something off your chest and feel better. And then, of course, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. Best ones, I'll read up on the air. Your thoughts on Devonte Wyatt's contract extension. If you got something to say about that too, hey, let me know. Okay. We got some news updates, but